Hi everyone, how are you doing? My name is Alberto. I'm part of the innovation team in Aracari. I'm based here in Lima, Peru. And our guest today and our host today, both of them are located in London. So we're going to have again a truly global conversation with all of you. Please type us on the chat box from where are you connecting right now. This is our conversation number 5, Aracari. Thank you so much for coming. Right now, everyone is talking about pristine, faraway places in the world. And if there is something that is pristine and beautiful and untouched in Peru, that's Tambopata. And someone saw that 30 years ago. And we are going to talk with him today, with Eduardo Nycander. And of course, as usually, is going to be our CEO and founder, Marisol Mosquera, the one who's going to be interviewing his friends. So with you, Marisol.
Thank you, Alberto. Thank you, everybody, for being with us today. It's a pleasure to welcome you and to welcome our friend, Eduardo. I can consider him a personal friend. We met many, many years ago when Aracari started. Rainforest Expedition, the company he founded, was already in operation, and it was a benchmark for me, I have to say. I don't think I've ever told him that. It was a benchmark of good practices. And the first thing I did when I started my business and I was analyzing ecotourism was to go to their lodge. And and that first visit stayed in my heart forever. So I am super happy, Aracari is super happy to welcome Eduardo Nycander, founder of Rainforest Expedition, a company always admired for combining science, conservation, and hospitality in a beautiful way. And we want to talk about we want to learn about his story and learn about his trajectory and the fantastic Macaw project that he initiated, and the fruits of which can be still experienced when you go to Tambopata Research Center. But there's many more things that he's initiated. And anyway, welcome, Eduardo. Without more ado, we would love to hear you and tell us a little bit about you, how you started and this love for macaws. How did that happen?
Hello, Marisol. Hello, everybody. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be able to talk and share my experience in life. And it's wonderful to have this opportunity. So how I started. I used to be a wildlife photographer and used to go to the rainforest and different areas in Peru to take pictures because I had a good friend of mine who was a writer in the most important newspaper in Peru, Barbara Aquile, and I used to publish with her. I did the pictures and she did the writing. Then when I finished studying architecture, I had to decide what to do at the end to make a living. No, and in my family, everybody, my father especially, was like a little bit disagreeing with me of going to the Amazon. So I decided to do a master's in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and he decided to pay for that master so he can take me away from the rainforest. But at the end, I was planning to do my master in landscape architect, but it was twisting. I was twisting my studies to go more into nature. And then one day I told my father 3 months before going to Ann Arbor, Michigan, that I wanted to use that money to invest in a project in Tambopata, no? And I was expecting him to tell me, forget it, and scream at me and everything. And he told me, this is your money. This is the same money I'm going to give to each of your brothers and sisters. You decide and you tell me what you want to do. Next day, I woke up and told him that I'm staying in Peru, investing that money in Tambopata to build an ecotourism project, which is the Tambopata Research Center, and then I started the Macaw project there.
Right, and so so when you basically had been many times already, right, at Tambopata photographing, you worked with the Wildlife Conservation Society, right? Always as a photographer, wasn't it? And then
Exactly.
you were acquainted with the place. And how did you buy the land, or how did that come about? You just went there because you meet somebody there that helped you out?
What happened is, while I was studying to become an architect, I was going to Manu National Park, with a team from Wildlife Conservation Society, and I was taking pictures of the faces of the macaw because the macaws have some feather lines on their face that work as fingerprints. So we were trying to recognize each individual of macaws by the pictures that I was taking of their faces.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I had to do my study to get my degree as an architect. So I did my research and my thesis to become an architect with the Machigenga communities. So I spent like a year inside Manu National Park.
Excuse me, Machigenga communities is the ethnic group that lives in the southeastern rainforest of Peru, which is where Tambopata is, right?
Exactly. And most of these members of that community lives inside the Manu National Park. No?
Okay.
So my thesis was to analyze as an architect the way they collect material from the forest and the way they establish their urban planning. So 2 months I was doing that, 2-3 months I was working with a macaw project and Wildlife Conservation Society. So I acquired a lot of information and knowledge about all of this. So then I went, they took me to Tambopata to see this big macaw clay lake, where it was the only place where the blue and gold macaws go down. Because in Manu, you don't have the blue and gold macaws going to eat clay. But in Tambopata, yes, you have them. And one more clay lake. In all of the rest of the clay lakes that I know, they don't go.
Because that's quite an amazing experience. What is a clay lake? Because many people maybe don't know why it exists, a clay lake, right?
The clay lake is a place where many birds, especially the birds that eat seeds or are seed predators, go to eat clay and salt. Why? Because animals, all the animals that eat seeds and vegetables, they acquire the tannins of the plants and they can have an indigestion. So what they do is they eat the clay to neutralize that. In the case of the macaws, it's also believed that it's considered a socializing aspect of their behavior. So most of the clay lakes are right next to the Andes because we have apparently more access to salty areas. In other areas farther from the Andes, you don't find clay lakes for birds, or macaws don't go to the clay lakes. It's so just between Peru and Bolivia.
And the macaw lake, this famous macaw lake near Tambopata Research Center, was that known? I suppose the Machigengas knew about it, right?
That area was known by the local people. But remember, when we got there, there was no national park, not protected area, nothing. So when we got there, it was just an area free, available to whatever you want to do. No? Oh my God. So then what we did is we wanted to protect this area because in this clay lake, when I arrived the first time, we saw a boat coming down river with like 10, 12 macaws dead because they were going to be sold as food to the miners. And normally they say that macaw soup is delicious. So when I saw that coming from Manu, after working with macaws for 3 years, I decided that we have to protect this macaw clay lake. So I decided to build a lodge and at the same time to create a macaw project. So we create TRC near enough to the clay to protect it, but far enough not to bother the clay lake.
Okay, and that was around about in the early 90s, right? That you did that. And
89.
89. Okay, so you started the lodge and the conservation project, and you got funding grants from organizations worldwide. How did you manage to fund your project initially?
Well, actually, the money that I was going to use for my master's in Ann Arbor, Michigan, was the money that we used to start this project. You know?
Right.
So in the beginning, we start both building the lodge. I hired people from another community, the Eceja community, because in that area in the very southeast of Peru, the rainforest, is the Eceja community. A little bit northwest is the Machigenga community in the Manu National Park. But the knowledge I got from Manu is the same I needed to build something good in Tambopata with a traditional way of building. So what I did is I hired people from the native community, and with us, with our hands, we were building the lodge, the TRC. Actually,
Right.
we are going to see one of the first pictures of the TRC right now, that we have just a roof and a platform, and everybody was sleeping on a mattress on the floor with mosquito nets. That was all. We didn't have bathrooms. We have latrines outside. They had to go to the river to take a bath. So it was very, very rustic, but people enjoy it. People like it. Here is a picture that you can see. This is the picture of the first few weeks of TRC. And if you can see, the building is made out of palm pieces of palm. If you see on the left, there are 2 pona palms, and then the rest of the building is built with these same palms. But what happened? These palms on the very top, they have an area that is a lot more bigger, more wide. That area is really not good for construction. And I learned that working with a native community. So what we did, at the end, we had like 30 palms with this big area that we were going to just send to the garbage or not use them. So I decided to start the Macao project and take these pieces of palm, make holes and carve all the inside to make a hollow inside, and then hang them on top of the trees, on top of Chihuahua trees. They were like from 4 to 6 meters, and some of them were 300 meters long. And it was like carrying, like in the Middle Age, on the Bronze Age, weapons through the forest that at the beginning took us like a week to be able to hang one of these nests. And at the very end, we were hanging at one each 2 days. No, It was a huge labor to do that, but then we had to put them 40 meters above the ground, just with cable, with ropes and all of that, without not killing ourselves.
Right. So you first did the first big idea was having the top of the pona palms and making them nests and hanging them, right?
Yes.
And then
so in the beginning.
Yeah, go ahead.
In the beginning, the tourism activity was very low, so we decided to dedicate more time in the Macao project. So now I'm going to concentrate more on the Macao project. I want to show you a slide about 27 Macaos. No, so it's coming soon. And
so,
what happened with these 27
Eduardo,
Macaos?
The first tourists started. You started welcoming tourists, though, weren't you? And in that lodge that you saw that was so precarious, there was a bit of tourism to come.
Exactly. We had the tourists and the researchers in the same infrastructure.
Okay, but wait a second. I want you to explain something that's really important, because it's the combination of science, hospitality, conservation. And that's really key, because I think you've accomplished a wonderful mixture of those. When I went, I was very impressed at the fact that, it was very authentic. And it continues to be, because I've been back several times, because you had researchers that were working there and whose stay was paid, right, by the tourists who were visiting. And then you would meet in the evening, and that was this combination of like, oh my gosh, I'm learning so much by people who are doing real work. I had never met a researcher in this sort of environment when I went. It blew my mind. I thought, oh my God, how cool is that? So tell us a little bit about that combination.
Okay, I'll tell you. Our idea was that in order to do ecotourism the right way, we had to combine 3 things. Research, because by doing research, we learn more about the raw material, which is biodiversity and nature. We had to do tourism, because tourism was going to provide the income to be able to do research. And we had to involve the local communities, because the local communities will get income to improve their level of life, their standard of life, and will get their benefit of the industry using biodiversity. So we believe that 3 of them has to work together. So this is the reason we did research since the very beginning. We did tourism since the very beginning, and we included the native communities working with us. So that way we started the Macao project. And initially, the idea of the Macao project was because I always had very, very deep contact with macaws because of my experience in photograph and working with a Macao project in Namanu National Park for 3 years. And also because I always wanted to have a macaw as a pet. I remember asking my mother, I want a macaw as a pet, and she never wanted one because she remembered that when she was 20 years old, a boyfriend brought a macaw that used to fly to Madre de Dios, and it was a present without a cage, and they had to put it in the kitchen, and next day when they went to see the macaw, the kitchen was destroyed, completely destroyed. So my grandmother got crazy and my mother got traumatized, so she never bought me a macaw. So now I have all the macaws I want because I work in the paradise of macaws. So because of that and because of photograph, macaws are beautiful to take pictures. So I started Macao project. So if you see this picture, my worry is this: macaws are being extinct totally. Here, you can see 27 species of macaws. But if you see the ones on the left, the ones that are very colorful, a group very colorful on the left, all of them are already extinct. No? Wow. So before Cristobal Columbus came into America, we had 27. No? 11 of them won't come to Earth anymore in history, no, for eternity. And one of them already got extinct in the wild, which is the Spix macaw. On the top, there are 5 green macaws, and the one in the middle that is a light green, that one is extinct from the wild, and there is maybe 60 or 80 in captivity. No? Right. And many of the populations in different areas are getting extinct. The same thing happening in the Caribbean with these 11 macaws. Each island had a different species of macaws because they were isolated in islands and they developed completely different. You know, it's an evolution because they're isolated.
Sorry, now which are the ones that you can see when you are in Tambopata?
In Tambopata, we have 7 of them, which is the 2 red ones, the scarlet and gray, that ones, yeah. The blue and gold macaw, which is the top right macaw.
Ararauna, yeah, that one.
Yes, and the Araranaura. Then the one with a blue head, green, in the middle line, with a green head, is the Ara Culoni, more to the left. That one. That one is in the middle, the Ara Militari. In total, we have 7, and 4 of the very bottom.
Okay.
Actually, it's one of the places, the Tambopata National Park is the one who has more species of macaws that you can see in the same time. So that is my worry. The same thing that happened in Central America is happening now, or in the Caribbean, is happening in Central America and all South America because of the destruction of the forest and because of the destruction of the key trees where they nest, which is the ironwood that now is being commercialized all over the world for hardwood floors, is being destroyed.
What wood is that?
If this tree, sorry?
What wood is that? The one that's being...
Is the Diptrix. Diptrix is the scientific name. There are 11 subspecies, but in the market is well known as ironwood. Ironwood, because it's very, very hard. This tree haven't been destroyed in the wild because it's so hard that technology didn't have enough efficiency to process them. But now with this diamond tip technology of chainsaws, now this tree is the one is being commercialized more than any tree. So it's going to get almost extinct as caoba, cedar, and all of that. So and these trees...
Yeah, go ahead.
These trees take 800 years to grow to become an adult. And it takes 300 years to make a hole for the macaw nest. Now maybe we can see the natural macaw nests. So you can see an idea how a tree provides a home for macaws. So it takes 300 years for a tree to grow big enough to provide a hole where macaws can nest. But macaws don't live in the wild more than 35 or 40 years. So there is an imbalance there. You have a tree where they nest that takes 300 years to be able to provide a nest, and you have an animal, which is the macaw, that doesn't live more than 40 years. So if you destroy all the trees, this population is going to be destined to disappear in 40 years because they are going to get old and no more juveniles are coming into the population. And one day in 5 years, all of them will collapse and die and disappear. That is what is going to happen.
How did you come up with the artificial nest idea? Because that's the other big idea.
Yes. So then my worry at that time, it was to try to experiment with artificial nest boxes. So now I'm going to show you a picture of many artificial nest boxes. I designed like 3-4 different designs. And at the end, I was able to design one of PVC that lasts so far 30 years. If you see on the bottom right, I'm on a tree with one PVC nest, that one. They're still working. I'm the one who started the first nest for macaws in all Latin America. No? Right. And then little by little, people got in contact with me and they had the same worry. And now you can see every country that has macaws, somebody's doing research about providing nest boxes. Because it's very clear and there is no more to prove that the problem with macaws now is the destruction of the huge trees that provide the holes for nesting. That is a problem. So then there is a lot of researchers trying to solve the problem, but we have a problem. Another problem is that not necessarily all the boxes and all the designs are very good. For example, on the top right, you see these hyacinth macaws nesting in a box that is very small, no? And what happened is because in Brazil, in many areas, the big trees have been decimated. They don't have the most efficient original natural nest to take the measurements to decide how to build a nest. In Tambopata, we do have that. And the most effective nests are the ones who are the deepest and the darkest and the widest. So I had some nests that they were 18 meters deep. No, the entrance was on top and the nest, the eggs were 18 meters below. So some of these nests have huge cavities. So the deepest and the darkest, the less probabilities to have predators to go inside and eat the chicks, eat the nest, like the toucan. The toucan has built because it's a predator.
You've had, who are the predators of the macaws? You said the eagles, no. Who are the predators of the macaws?
Yeah, there's many predators, eagles, marsupials, rats, snakes, monkeys, but the worst of the worst is the toucan. Because the toucan, they use sometimes the same holes to nest, and when they see a hole, they know there's a possibility to find eggs. And toucans are egg predators. Everywhere they go, eating eggs. So imagine that. If you build a nest that doesn't provide the characteristics that this nest need to prevent predators to come in, you're providing fresh eggs to the predators.
Exactly.
You know? And beside that is the temperature, is the light, because if this is a nest that is not deep, butterflies and many parasites come inside, lay the eggs in the chicks, they get full of worms and they die at the end. So it's not a matter of just putting a hole where they put the eggs. No, you have to do a nest that protects the chicks.
So how many nests have you put in the
Macao project?
You counted them.
In the beginning, when we started, we had like 25 nests, and some of the PVC nets we hung, they were being visited next day. The macaws are so intelligent that when they saw it, they start using them. And the next breeding season, all our artificial nests were working, and they succeed. So we know it can be done. But the problem is, has to be a good nest. Otherwise, it can be even worse for the population of macaws. So what I'm doing is that, and now I'm creating an artificial nest box, because I started Macao projects and managed it for 15 years. Then other researchers came to continue the Macao project because I was working more with ecotourism. Now I'm taking over the Macao project and I'm concentrating 100% in providing the intelligent nest. So it's going to be a nest that it will last 50 years in the wild without supervision. Will be a nest that is predator proof. No, it's like we have the most primitive intelligent nest and the most advanced primitive nest. So the primitive will be one that doesn't need supervision, electricity, solar panel, nothing. By itself, imitates and replicates all the characteristics of the most wonderful natural nest. Here you can see on the left, is 3 meters tall, 2 entrances. The entrances will reduce little by little to allow just macaws to get in, so monkeys cannot get in. And the temperature is one pipe inside another pipe. So we provide lower temperature, more cool area, is wider. This nest has 16 inches. The previous nest we did, they were 12 and 14 inches. Some of them will have 20 inches. And on top, it has a system that collects water, and the water goes through the nest on an area with clay, making the clay wet. So it's like the sap of the tree and makes the inside cooler. And all of that works automatically without any supervision. That is one design.
Have you tried them already, these nests?
I tried them in the forest, on the floor, with the rain and everything to see the mechanics, if it is working. I haven't hung anyone yet, no, because the coronavirus came and all of that, we had to stop, no? But this is, you can see this is ready to be hung. And the tree behind this is a TRC, and it's an ironwood tree that everything is ready to be hung there. So in a few months we will do it.
So tell us a little bit. So then right now, maybe Alberto, maybe you can show us a little bit of the baby macaws, because that's very cute. The baby macaws when they
yes, right. So that's, but let me tell you more about. Let me tell you a little bit about the intelligent nest. So in the future, this intelligent nest is going to have cameras, it's going to be online, and is going this. Here you can see the nest, the macaw that is already at TRC trying to get into the nest. We were putting some food to attract them, but in the picture in the middle, you see a branch of PVC and 2 cameras. These cameras, they are run by algorithms, and the algorithms are recording the face, the 2 faces, and then eventually the algorithm will learn to recognize which macaw is coming in, if it is it's not a macaw, it's a toucan, or it's a monkey, and this algorithm will allow a door that when the algorithm recognizes is a monkey and not a macaw, the nest closes. So doesn't allow the monkey to get in. Or if it is a rat or marsupial trying to get in, the nest closes. Then when the animal goes away, then it opens again. So it's going to be a nest that it will protect the chicks. No? So at the same time, all these pictures and everything that is happening, it will go to the cloud, and it will have access to any university in the world who wants to do research live online with macaws. We will have sensors taking the temperature, light, videos, all the activities inside and outside will be recorded for future researchers.
Okay, so that's a baby macaw there. But we want to know a little bit about the tourism part, because you do this kind of research. You allow your visitors to do some research, don't you, and participate in a lot of these projects. So tell us a little bit about this.
The idea is that we always had a tourism activity with.
Excuse me, just a second. Can everybody mute themselves, please?
No.
Hi, thank you. Sorry.
No, it's all right.
Okay. Okay, yeah. So the thing is that we always had science and the tourism activity and native communities working with us all together. But now we are making more defined the project, and we're calling that citizen science. So where every citizen, in this case the tourist, become part of a research for a small period of time. No? For example, right now, we have activities a la carta, and we have many research programs. The macaw project is one. We have discovering new species, another one. We have a project with 8 primate project. So what happened? If one of our researchers wants to become, one of our tourists wants to become a research for the morning, they will go with our researchers and do the same activity that researchers do. If they can do the climbing, they will do the climbing. If they do the measurement and taking care of the chicks, they will do that. So it will be a more intense experience, hands-on, with each of the projects.
I understand.
So that is what we are doing now.
And you have how many lodges do you have? How many lodges where you can do these activities?
Right now we run 3 lodges, and the 2 lodges that has more science are Refugio Amazonas and the Tambopata Research Center, and little by little, every activity is a la carta because it's flexible, and the tourists can decide what to do with which researcher, if they want to spend time or they want to repeat the experience with them. The more they want to learn, the more the projects are open to access to the tourists.
So how many days does one stay to do a few of these activities with scientists and things, which I think is very interesting?
Depends, because our lodges are in the same river, but one takes 1 hour by bus and 1 hour by boat. The other one takes 3.5 more hours. And then the farthest, the TRC, takes 5 more hours. So depends on the time of the tourist. If you have 5 days, we always say go to TRC because it's the farthest, and you will stop in the way up or down in one of them, in one of the other ones. But if they have 4 days, they go to Refugio because that way they don't have to be traveling too long, and the activities are very, very similar as TRC. So even if you have 2 days, 2 nights, 3 days, you can do it with us. If you have less than 2 nights, we recommend you that it's not the right time to go to the rainforest because everything will be going, sleeping, and then leaving.
Right. And then tell us, you have one of your lodges, you have a lot of experience doing business or working with the local communities. I suppose that's something you need to do if you're an entrepreneur in the Amazon. Can you tell us, your experience, 30-year experience, what has been the biggest challenge in this whole experiment? That you did. This wonderful
the project that in the beginning, we were like 8 years working with a native community in our projects. But then, when the industry grew up, we needed to build a lodge in between Puerto Maldonado and the Tambopata Research Center because it was too far. And the native community was right in the middle, and we were already friends with them. So what we did, we told them, we need a place to stay in between. Would you like to build a lodge with us as a joint venture? And they liked the idea. We knew for 8 years. So we decided to do a joint venture, and we built Posada Amazonas. This project already has 27 years, and it was, the most challenging thing is that when I started the project, I always had a behavior and an attitude of being paternalistic because apparently I knew how to do ecotourism. So that was the most difficult part because even when they didn't know a lot about ecotourism, they knew a lot more about nature than me. So the most difficult part is to understand that in many aspects they have more knowledge than me, and I have to let them explain, what they know, and then I need to integrate my knowledge with their knowledge. So that was very, very difficult for me. But at the end, I realized that the more I let them decide how to do things because they know nature better than me, they know their people better than me, then the decisions are going to be better than the decisions that I will try to impose as if I continue as a paternalistic way. It went so well.
Yeah.
It went so well that now any problem we had, I told them, I don't know how to do this, you decide. And they always have a much stronger decision than what I was having in mind.
So you could say that has been the biggest surprise and the happiest, the biggest joy of the whole project.
Yes, and the biggest joy right now is that I don't need to say anything now because these members of this community are so well trained about ecotourism that they can have a discussion with any entrepreneur and they know what are they talking about. When I hear them talking, it's just amazing.
Eduardo, thank you so much for this session, this explanation, this wonderful conversation. And now, before we go to give some questions that the audience have given. We want to show you some pictures you've passed on to us, because the lodge is not longer the same as it was at the beginning. Please don't get that idea, because the lodge is now a luxury lodge, which is fantastic. There's 3 of them. But the TRC, which is the one that's been widely mentioned, where the Macos live, because by the way, the Macos live there. They're called the Chicos, right? They're still Chicos, or
Yes,
we've grown up, but they're called the
Chicos.
Chicos. Always around. It's amazing. It's a life-changing experience, and now it's a luxury lodge as well. You know, and do you have electricity? Because I've seen solar panels. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, now we have electricity, internet 24 hours, solar panels, everything works with technology now.
Wow, look at that. Looks great.
Yeah, little by little, we have been improving our infrastructure, because I had the opportunity to live in Africa for 3 years. I saw what Africa is doing, and I decided, why we don't do something similar in Peru? So I always, when I develop a new lodge, I try to do something better than the previous one.
Right. I don't know what's happening there with the photos. Good. Well, anyway, I'm sure there's some questions out there, Alberto. Some people have written some questions.
Oh, let me see, because it's many comments. Let's see.
Comments, yeah.
See. Oh, yeah.
This is the perfect opportunity.
This is one very nice. Yes, I'm gonna put some mute over here. Here we go. Didac is from the, there is, first of all, people from all over the world, from Denmark, from USA, from Toronto. Didac from Spain is telling us, no doubt, this is one of the many measurements. Hiomar is saying us, regarding the research project at Macaos, I understand Refugio Amazonas is not on the National Reserve, whereas TRC is in the reserve. Clear out that question, please.
Yes. TRC is in the middle, in the heart of the reserve, and in front of a national park, because we started TRC before it was a reserve, okay? And Refugio Amazonas is in the buffer zone of the National Reserve, the Tambopata National Reserve, and is maybe 300 meters. If you walk 300 meters, then you get inside the reserve. Yes, that is the location.
Mm-hmm. So when you go to TRC, you stop by one night, right, at Refugio generally?
Yes, normally in the way up, you can stop one night at the Refugio Amazonas, or also now you can go straight to TRC. Depends how much time do you have, because it's different kind of habitat, different kind of experience. So each lodge is unique.
Right. I can vouch for that.
Yeah. The explanation was so clear that we have no questions, Eduardo. Everyone is impressed by the project, really. And surely Silvestre is saying right now, how many guests in each lodge?
Okay. Posada Amazonas has 30 rooms. Refugio Amazonas has 32 rooms. And TRC has 24 rooms. In total, a year, we have around 17,000 tourists between the 3 lodges. And it's divided, TRC is the smallest, and Posada and Refugio, they have more or less the same number. Per year, each lodge has around 6,000 tourists, and they spend 3 to 4, sometimes 5 nights with us.
Perfect. And Catherine Collins is saying, we visited TRC in May 2019. It was a wonderful experience. Our guide, native of the area, taught us so much about his use of natural plants for health remedies.
Yeah,
wonderful. That is the idea.
Eduardo, because at the beginning, when I went for the first time, you had biology students, or they were doing their thesis from Lima and from universities from around the world. But now, as I've been going, I've seen that your local guides now have learned a lot of the lessons, and they are the ones who are guiding. Is that correct? Or do you still have a program where students...
Yes, we still have the program for biologists who want to do their thesis or research with us. But at the same time, we have been running a training program for guides, and we have been training people from the native community and people from Puerto Maldonado. Also, remember, it's 30 years now that we have been doing that, and there are now some universities who teach biology, forestry, and they are becoming guides too. So yes, when you went the first time, there were just biologists from Lima and Cusco maybe. Now we have a range of native people from Puerto Maldonado, and also from Lima.
Right. I tell you, I think that the guiding is just so fantastic, and the place is, and we're fans. That's why we're here. We're showing that.
Thank you.
Hannah August is asking us, why would you go to Posadas? Is this an overflow if Refugio and TRC are full?
No, no, definitely not. No, we don't do that, because each one is designed for a different market. Posada Amazonas is a market that the tourists want a more experience with local people. There are more activities with local people in Posada Amazonas, activities where you can go and spend a day with the community, fishing with them, cooking with them, eating the traditional food, or you can go to their own medicine place where they take their people to get local treatment. The tourists can go and learn about that. No, all the guys from there belongs to the community. Everybody who works in the lodge belongs to the community. So every lodge is designed to run a different market. And also people who has just 2 days. If you have 3 nights to be able to do that, then we recommend you to go to Refugio, no? Because that is more designed for families, no? And also, because it's farther, you have more time to travel and you can be there, and also has activities with a different kind of local people, which are more the settlers that has been there for 50 years, that they came from the Amazon, and how they adapted to the region, no? And then TRC, if you don't have 4 nights or 5 nights, there's no point to go there because it's so far and it's inside the park. And TRC is the one that has more research. We don't have activities that belongs to the community or cultural attraction. It's concentrated in wildlife, but it doesn't mean that you don't see wildlife in Refugio and TRC. You also have, say, in Refugio and Posada Amazonas, you also have wildlife there. So each lodge has been designed in a way that they don't compete to each other. Other ways, it will be terrible because you are cannibalizing tourists, no? So that is the answer.
Great. We have Philip Cliff saying, thank you, Eduardo, for such an informative conversation. It certainly brings back wonderful memories of my time in TRC in 2019. And well, he's asking us how we do access to the recording of this session later. Everything is going to be uploaded on the Aracari website with all the previous conversations as well. And when this conversation is over, I mean, the next day, we're going to send to all of you a recording of this conversation and also the links of the beautiful properties that Eduardo has.
Eduardo, you'll be able to give us links and also to the projects of Wired Amazon and all this, so that everybody that receives the recording can also access Wired Amazon.
Exactly. We are going to send everything. And actually right now, in the middle of COVID-19, we are starting to do more research. No? So we are going to start doing specific researchers in the area, that when we open the lodge to the public again and the borders are open, we're going to have new activities for citizen science in TRC and Refugio.
Perfect. Hannah August is asking, are there other research projects other than the Macau project?
Yes. We have the Discover a New Species project that so far we have discovered like 32 new species. Actually, one of the species has been named after David Attenborough here in England, and another one after Christine Ekstrom and Franz Lantin, the most famous photographer for National Geographic. No? Then another project is a primate project. So we are going to be continuing the work of John Turnbull in Manu National Park about primates in the neotropics. So that is another one. We have aerobotany. We have drones that are collecting information from the forest about the dipteryx, the macaw tree, the ironwood tree that macaws need for nesting. And also in Refugio, we have that same project, but working with Brazilian nut trees, no? And then we have the Amazon Cam, which is a grid that we have like 350 cameras on top of a trees in a 2 kilometers by 2 kilometer grid, no, that is taking pictures of the animals on the canopy and taking pictures of animals walking on the bottom of the trees. No? So we have 5 projects that are working parallel, all of them, and all of them include the tourists to do citizen science.
Perfect, perfect. There is 2 more questions. There's Shirley Silvestri asking, what are the rates? And well, I would say just contact Aracari and we can give you the best rates. And then we have Queen Mayer. Queen Mayer is saying, hi, Queen Mayer from Manu. Hi, Eduardo. We just want to say thank you for inspiring us. We have now installed several artificial nests in Manu National Park, so we'd love to hear more about how your intelligent nests are coming along.
I know, Queen, I have been traveling with him. Well, look, we are developing an algorithm that is going to do all the work for the intelligent ones. In TRC and in all our lodges, we already installed a broadband. So because we need a big communication band to be able to send videos, pictures to the algorithm that is going to do the process of analyzing the pictures and being able to make the decisions to open and close the nest, no? And so I'm working with artificial intelligence universities in Cambridge, in Manchester Metropolitan University, in Oxford, with San Diego Zoo and different organizations. I have a team of people designing that, and I'm the architect. I'm the one who provides the nest, no, and the intelligent part of the mechanics of the nest. And my other team is installing the artificial intelligence and electronics and all of that. So it's a full teamwork.
Right. Good.
Perfect.
Perfect.
No more questions. Just congratulations and compliments for the work you're doing in Tambopata, Eduardo.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for today. Thank you for being here and telling us the story. And yeah, lots of luck. This artificial nest will be wired when we know to know more about it. So thank you. And thanks everybody for participating and tuning in.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the opportunity. And yes, eventually next year, we hope to have a few nests online that anyone can access and do research, see 100% of the days of a growing of the chicks, and all enough data to do their own papers and masters and PhD online without going to Tambopata if they want, no? But if they want and be volunteer working with us, they can do it too.
Great, great. Eduardo, it was a pleasure. To everyone, remember that we have these conversations every Thursday around at the same time, 1 p.m. New York time. And next week, we're going to have a conversation about sustainable project, but in the Sacred Valley. So stay tuned. If you like the conversation today, you certainly will like the conversation the next week also.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you, Eduardo.
Thank you.